Hello and welcome to another episode of the SMEFocus show brought to you by FactoryNOW TV. I'm your host, Chris Greenough, and in this series we will focus on SMEs within the British manufacturing sector. Every week we will discuss and analyse the opportunities and challenges facing the industry in these unprecedented times. I have worked in the sector for over 26 years and I am CCO at SDE Technology, one of the leading manufacturers of pressings and assemblies in the UK. So as you can hopefully appreciate, this show is very much for manufacturers by manufacturers. My guest today is Mark Weymouth, Managing Director at PLUS Automation Ltd. Mark, nice to see you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Chris. It's a nice sunny day. It's March. Spring is upon us.
Fantastic. Thank you for coming on the show. So if we can start, PLUS Automation, tell us what you do.
So PLUS Automation is a sensor business. Our aim is to help you make sensors. To put it another way, we're the UK and Irish face of the Swiss sensor company Contronex.
Okay, so how big is your team? What's the sort of turnover? Tell us a bit more about the company itself.
So it's a family-owned business, relatively small as such. I sell directly and through a range of specialist distributors. So for a large part of the country, the face would be to sell through distribution.
Okay, and yourself and how many are in the team?
Two others.
Okay, so a small SME. And obviously 2020 was a tough year for all business. How did you fare? Where did you start in sort of turnover and where did you end up in 2020?
I guess we were probably a third down by the end of the year if you to look at things all over. The business historically, or the brand historically of Contronex in the UK has been very automotive focused.
Yeah.
I joined several years ago to really diversify them, and luckily with the challenges we've had, being more diversified helped us a lot.
Absolutely. And now we're into 2021. Obviously, we got the impact of Brexit. How have you fared with, because you export all over the world, how's impact of Brexit on your business? What's it been like?
So PLUS Automation really actually only exports to Ireland. So my territory is UK and Ireland. So I now export to Ireland and Northern Ireland, which is a peculiar challenge of Brexit. How has it affected me? I guess I'm spending a ridiculous amount of my time currently coping, managing the challenges of bringing goods in and trying to get them back out and trying to cope with all the delays. The business is very much customer-led, very customer-centric. So my big challenge at the minute is spending a lot of time and a lot of money to make sure my customers aren't inconvenienced.
And is that delays in terms of just paperwork or delays of the couriers not wanting to pick up, just they're finding it too much hassle so they can't be bothered?
A combination of all of the above, really. I've had challenges with the European Logistics Centre just really not being interested in helping. They find the whole UK situation very frustrating. So I'm having to do more work because they're not willing to do the work.
Yeah.
And having been used to very short lead times of a day or two to get from Europe direct to customer, I'm now having conversations with customers saying, well, it will take a week. I'm transshipping everything through the office to make sure we have full visibility of what's happening. So it's adding extra money and extra time and extra delay.
So really, I mean, the whole impact of Brexit, do you see that the first couple of weeks were obviously a learning curve for most people, most couriers, most business? Is that going to get better, or do you see this is the level of disruption we're going to be facing for the next month or two?
I think it can only get better. Ironically, January went fairly painlessly for me. February was the real problem month, and I think probably only a couple of % of shipments are having problems. But the couriers are so swamped that if there is a problem, even if it's a very minor problem, I have literally spent days chasing and hours upon hours on the phone chasing an item. So the reason I'm now transshipping everything through the office is to prevent that one delivery getting lost. So yes. I guess 95% were working. The problem is the one person whose delivery gets lost doesn't really care that the other 15 were good. So there's a lot of extra effort going in to make sure 100% of the goods turn up on time.
Absolutely. Now, I know you spend a lot of time promoting your business through the use of social media. How did you start, and what are your tips on the use of social media for manufacturers?
I've probably got a strange history and a strange view of social media in that I only use it for business use. I don't use it for personal use at all.
Okay.
Business use, I try and communicate on some of the values of the subject of the company, and really trying to talk about applications and just things that I think might be of interest. From a business point of view, from a personal point of view, I try and push the agendas of UK manufacturing, STEM, diversity, and manufacturing in general, really.
So even though you're using it as a sales tool, it's not a hard sell per se. I've seen a lot of your LinkedIn posts, and they're just about educating about your product.
Yeah, it tends to be. I mean, I'm very mindful. I've spent over a decade in the sensor market, and the sensor market is not the most exciting market there is. I'm not selling phones. I'm not selling dreams. So I try and talk to like-minded people, or my customers, or people who are in the same industry as me, trying to solve the same problems, really trying to prove that I understand what they're doing and I'm offering a better solution for what they're doing. So it's very application-led. I'm a cynical English engineer, so I'm not so impressed by PowerPoints that say this is the best thing on earth. I'd much rather talk to people about how I can add value and solve their problems, and here's an example of something we solved previously.
Fantastic. And I see you spread a lot of good news around the UK manufacturing sector. A lot of the work you do on LinkedIn is actually just promoting other people within that sector. Certainly you do a Friday good news post, which is just bringing together all the good news about investment, about job creation, every Friday in a sort of weekly roundup. Why did you start doing that, and what's the motivation behind doing that?
Ironically, it started really as a bit of a reaction to all the anti-Brexit sentiment. Brexit's not something we could change, so I was frustrated that everybody was talking about it a year and a half ago, saying doom and gloom is coming. Yeah. I believe let's not really spend too much time worrying about what we can't change. Let's do what we can to try and improve things. So I wanted to try and get a bit of more attention to the good news in manufacturing. COVID hit us, the media really went on a let's look for all the bad news about Brexit. So that motivated me more, that motivated me more to try and just draw a bit of attention to this underreported thing that is manufacturing, and this even more underreported thing, which is positivity in manufacturing. So 13 months in now, putting something out every Friday, never struggled to find good news, and hopefully people enjoy it, seem to get good feedback. So just really trying to bang the drum for UK manufacturing. I wonder where we would be without it. We certainly would have had a very difficult last 12 months. So that's.
And where do you find the inspiration and the stories? Do people now send you details to put in your Friday roundup, or is it just you gathering data from your connections on the internet?
It's a mixture really of journalism that I know puts out positive things. So FactoryNOW is obviously a key content provider, but there are also contributors. The UK space industry is a classic example. It's an amazingly successful industry. It's something as a geek I find interesting, but it's not something I knew very much about. So a friend through LinkedIn feeds me content every week. So combination of media sources I know, things I see on LinkedIn, things that people send to me.
Fantastic. And so plans for the rest of 2021 for you and PLUS Automation, where do you see things going?
The business is very much about growth, and to grow you've got to be out there and talking to people. When I will physically be out there talking to people, I don't know, but really just trying to have conversations with people, whether it's over the phone, whether it's over the internet, whether it is eventually face-to-face. Getting out, if I'm out with people, then you can talk about applications, offer them an advantage, get business.
Fantastic. And it's good to see, I mean, you're optimistic for 2021, and you see Brexit, certainly January and February were tough, but the paperwork side of it and the courier and moving product has got to get easier. And do you see an order book that's healthy for the rest of the year?
It's certainly fairly healthy. It's not where I would like it to be, so there's room for growth, but there are much worse industries than ours. There's worse countries, bigger challenges. I can't change any of the negativity. All I can do is go out and grow the business and be positive doing it. As I said, as we started to talk, it's a sunny day, it's March, spring's coming. There's never been a truer adage that things can only get better, and they will.
Fantastic. Mark, thank you for your time today, and thank you for what you do around LinkedIn and social media, promoting and supporting UK manufacturing and the positivity that's out there. Thank you for your time.
Good to speak to you, Chris.
Thank you, Mark. Take care. That brings us to the end of another show. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to meeting more of our brilliant SME manufacturers next week. If you would like to get in touch with the show with a comment, a suggestion, or to appear on a future episode, please email us tv@mtd.media. Thank you for watching. Thank you to Mark, and spreading positivity around UK manufacturing is what this show is all about. So from me, Chris G at STE, goodbye.